you're there ready to make your cut.
So, why you cut before? The cut, okay.
Now I'm where I wanna be.
The Cut is brought to you by Flow.
Small business owners and independent contractors get affordable insurance with Sagicor Pro Shield. The time by Sagicor Life is
7 o'clock.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, Senate moves to strengthen financial oversight. Indicom encourages JCF policy revision. Renewed calls for mental health support crisis following police shooting incident. In the business report, SOS signals historic year. While in sports, Cavaliers to face Chiboa FC in CONCACAF Caribbean Cup final. This is CVM News at 7. Here is Curlin Brown.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. It's a Friday, the first day of November 2024. Thanks so much for joining us. I am Curlin Brown. Now, after a wave of financial scandals and billions lost, pressure is mounting in Jamaica's Senate to tighten financial regulations. On Friday, lawmakers passed key amendments to empower the Financial Services Commission, the FSC, targeting gaps that have left investors vulnerable. Ramon Gordon has more on the Senate's push for reform.
Following a series of high-profile financial scandals, including the multi-billion-dollar fraud at Stocks and Securities Limited (SSL), calls are growing within Jamaica's Senate to modernize financial oversight laws. On Friday, the Senate passed critical amendments to the Financial Services Commission Act (FSCA), equipping the FSC with expanded powers.
President, the financial crisis experienced by Jamaica in the 1990s highlighted the significant risks that financial groups can pose to the growth and stability of both global and local economies. The promulgation of the Financial Services Commission Amendment Act of 2024 will allow Jamaica to have another regulatory tool to enhance financial sector stability and offer a greater level of protection for financial consumers.
The amendments give the FSC stronger powers to oversee non-deposit-taking institutions and financial holding companies like SSL, aiming to close the regulatory gap that left consumers at risk. Over a year ago, fraud at SSL cost big-name clients and regular investors millions, exposing serious oversight weaknesses. It's why Government Senator Ransford Braham is strident in saying that Jamaica's courts often can't keep up with the fast-paced financial sector.
If we understand the courts, it is not designed, Mr. President, to respond to that type of industry, at least initially. You bring before me financial information, economics matters, accounting, all of which I am unfamiliar with. Then I will tend to default to those who I have good faith and faith in to rely upon them. And unless you can show a glaring disobedience of the legislation, it hardly deals with substantial issues.
At SSL, 200 accounts were affected with losses exceeding $3 billion. The company is advancing plans to disburse over $30 million to clients affected by the fraud, with the FSC closely monitoring. Meanwhile, opposition Senator Dr. Floyd Morris also voiced support for the bill, acknowledging that Jamaica's outdated financial laws left consumers vulnerable.
And that is a matter that the government will have to deal with post-haste. I hope they would have had, or the minister would have left a series of these legislation that the government would deal with in very short order.
In other Senate news, Senator Gabriella Morris plans to push for the swift implementation of the school nutrition policy to combat rising NCD and child obesity rates. Her motion calls for the finalizing of the policy this academic year, banning unhealthy food in schools, promoting local meals, and including youth in oversight. Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
Now, in order to lessen the number of police fatal shootings in the country, the Independent Commission of Investigations is calling on the Jamaica Constabulary Force to play its part. The agency hosted a media briefing to highlight some of the issues it faces with the numerous cases it receives. Trisha Gay Kelly has been tracking those stories.
The number of police shootings in Jamaica is increasing, so too fatalities. This has generated concerns within the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDICOM, which is tasked with analyzing each incident. The commission published the statistics on Friday. Assistant Commissioner Hamish Campbell detailed the number of fatal shootings since the start of 2024.
As of yesterday, the 31st of October, 149 people have been killed so far this year and a further 66 people shot and injured. And as pointed out, the current projection shows that unless trends are reversed by the security forces in Jamaica, 2024 will see the highest level of security force fatal incidents since 2013.
INDICOM remains hopeful this will not become Jamaica's reality. Sometimes there was tension between INDICOM and the police when the body was just formed. Commissioner Hugh Faulkner said the agency does not find pleasure in bringing law enforcement officers to court.
The Commission does not seek to or wish to see an increase in either police fatal shootings or other related matters, nor an increase in the prosecution of police officers. Our mandate is to investigate matters in an objective, impartial, and independent manner.
With this information, Faulkner is urging the Jamaica Constabulary Force to revisit its policies and make the necessary adjustments to mitigate the occurrence of such matters.
It is recommended that the JCF High Command review and examine closely the circumstances resulting in their officers being charged, and the leadership should effect the necessary changes required, whether through policies, training, or other means, to reduce conduct which lead to charge.
Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
And calls have intensified for stronger support systems for mentally ill individuals following a recent police shooting involving a man said to be mentally ill. Our reporter Shante McNeil has been following that situation for the latest.
Well, the incident which took place in St. Andrews sparked renewed discussion on the need for better equipped crisis response teams. In fact, one official from a mental health facility has weighed in. Here's what he had to say.
The police reportedly shot and injured the man believed to be mentally ill. The man allegedly retaliated with a sharp object when the officers attempted to arrest him in connection with a robbery. It's one of many where people who are mentally challenged have suffered violently. Earlier in the year, another man experiencing a mental health episode was reportedly beaten by community members. Senior medical officer and consultant neuropsychiatrist at the Bellevue Hospital, Dr. Roger Roberts, believes that crisis management teams should have been involved in the St. Andrew case.
Usually, each parish has access to a psychiatrist with mental health officer and psychiatric nursing aides. Now, on any given day for the parish, for each of the parishes, there is an on-call crisis response team. And I'm not sure why the police officers, upon assessing the situation, if they think that they did not know how to handle the patient who is having a crisis, I think that the crisis team should have been informed and it should have been a joint operation.
The SMO further highlights that each parish is assigned a crisis team to address mental health incidents, but these teams are often under-resourced, leading to delays in response times. And in response to calls from members of the public who are demanding that mentally ill individuals be institutionalized, Dr. Roberts explained that such policies have been phased out.
Since 1997, there has been a deinstitutionalization policy, which is in keeping with best practice worldwide. We know that institutionalization robs the patients of their freedom, violates their human rights, and the longer patients are institutionalized for, the more they have more difficulty reintegrating in the community.
For CVM News, I'm Shante McNeil.
Thanks, Shante. As time winds down to the busy travel period, the Kingston International Airport conducted an emergency training session to ensure the hub is fully prepared. So, are they now emergency ready from the drill? Here's what Trisha Gay Kelly found out.
From time to time, international airports are required to conduct emergency drills. And that's precisely what took place recently at the Kingston International Airport in Montego Bay, St. James. Chief Executive Officer Shane Monroe says while this is nothing new to the airport, there was a difference regarding the type of drill that was practiced recently.
We also have what is called a full-scale exercise, which is what we had this evening, and that tests the response of all parties in a very real way. We have actual actors, simulating various types of event. In this case, we had a security-related event, but also testing our medical response.
This comes shortly after the death of a 71-year-old man at the airport in September. The training involved various government bodies, including the Ministry of Health, alongside a team from the Cornwall Regional Hospital, the Jamaica Constabulary and Defense Forces, and the Jamaica Fire Brigade. At the end of the drill, Monroe assured all necessary parties were prepared.
Those agencies responded, and we were very happy that they are here and participating in this full exercise. So if an event such as this should happen, whether it's security or safety related, they are ready and able to respond.
After each drill, there is a debrief with employees and stakeholders for an evaluation of their performance in the drill. The CEO says the airport has a detailed plan for its response to such emergencies, a plan that is also to be shared with stakeholders and the public. Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
Lots more to come here on CVM News at 7. Do stay with us.
Jamaica Food and Drink Festival's Meat Street and the Market is back in partnership with the Port Authority of Jamaica. Saturday, November 9, 3 to 10 p.m. at the historic Naval Dockyard in Port Royal, Kingston. Food trucks, restaurants, and chefs galore. Enjoy CV pan chicken, Helsha-style fish, gourmet pastas, veggie delights, street eats, and so much more. Guided tours, live entertainment, and kids zone. Park and ride with JUTC. Meat Street and the Market. Saturday, November 9. Adults 2,000, children under 10 free. Tickets at JA Food and Drink Kitchen on Cork's Constant Spring, Candy Craze Waterloo, CPJ Market, and Geno's Pharmacy Portmore. Pay with Visa or buy online at jafoodanddrink.com.
It's Maxi Kingston and Montego Bay's sweet October sale. Get ready to shop and save up to 50% off store-wide on clothing, shoes, home, and accessories. Shop with us this October 24th to November 2nd at Fairview, Montego Bay, and in Kingston, Springs Plaza, and our newest location on Red Hills Road. October doesn't get any sweeter. See you there.
Marcia Griffiths culminates her diamond anniversary in reggae music, 60 years and counting. Sunday, November 3 at Hope Gardens with Marcia Griffiths and friends, a massive musical showcase featuring Jamaica's greatest artists all on one stage, courtesy of Appleton Estate, KFC, Water, Coca-Cola, HIC, Candle, and Ranch Entertainment. Tickets available at marciagriffiths.com and caribtix.com. Marcia Griffiths and friends, an iconic reggae moment you can't miss.
Welcome back and thanks so much for staying with us. The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation is grappling with financial challenges due to low market fees, forcing the council to take on maintenance responsibilities previously funded with help from those revenues. Here's more in this report from Britannia Whittle.
Councillor and the chairman of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation's Finance Committee, Dennis Gordon, raised alarming concerns regarding the municipal's financial health and the environmental practices of its citizens. Speaking at a recent town hall, Gordon revealed that the KSAMC is losing an estimated $166 million due to the low market fees.
We cannot continue the way we have been over time, and the CFO will speak to it. We are losing $166 million a year because of poor market fee.
Gordon emphasized that although the KSAMC is in charge of sustaining the market area, citizens should work with the KSAMC as it tries to make the market more favorable to customers and vendors.
It is indeed a service that the KSAMC must provide, but we need support to fix it because every one of us use the market district.
In addition to financial issues, Gordon addressed the ongoing problem of improper garbage disposal in the corporate area. He noted that illegal dumping and inadequate waste management practices will not be tolerated and those involved will be targeted.
Persons who use our roadways, litter it, we are coming after you. We must have a clean city. We must have a clean city. Those persons who continue to dispose of their waste in the gullies, we are coming after you because it has environmental impact.
The chairman's remarks were supported by Mayor Andrew Swaby, who reiterated that proper garbage disposal is everyone's responsibility.
As citizens, we have to develop a little more in terms of our civic pride. We cannot be continuing to dispose garbage anywhere. It is not right, and we have to talk about it.
Residents were also invited to share their views on the pressing issues. The council plans to explore these topics further in upcoming sessions, aiming to implement the necessary changes to benefit the corporate area as a whole. Britannia Whittle, CVM News.
And misconduct and reckless practices from public transport operators are being chalked up to a lack of support and education. Stakeholders at a transport operators seminar state their concerns for taxi and bus operators who seem to be struggling and who remain in trouble with the law. As Courtney Lewis reports, the call now is for greater support from government agencies.
Taxi and bus operators often bear the brunt of public outrage for indisciplined driving. And while much consideration is given for other Jamaican professionals in high-stress jobs, head of TODS Edgerton Newman claims operators receive the most severe backlash and little to no support.
The discipline is poor, and it's simply because the state is not providing the support to us in terms of training and development.
Many are also unable to clear outstanding infractions, which he attributes to a lack of understanding.
Most of us are not educated enough to know the various signs and signals on the road.
The conflict goes beyond education, as the Director General of the Island Traffic Authority highlighted alcohol and drug use due to mental health issues among public transport operators.
Training programs that emphasize the dangers of alcohol and drug use can empower operators to make better choices. We must promote an environment where drivers feel supported in discussing these challenges and seeking help when needed. It's also essential to provide resources for operators struggling with addiction, access to counseling, support groups and rehabilitation services can make a significant difference.
Newman is calling on the ITA, the police and the Transport Authority for collective support for taxi and bus operators. Courtney Lewis for CVM News.
And 1 Million You know, it's always interesting to note the different ways dishes are prepared using the same main ingredients. Just see when we ended up inside the kitchen of the treasurer of the Indigbo tribe from Nigeria here in Jamaica alongside the president for part 2 of our new series, Traditional Flavours, ahead of the big Yam Festival on Saturday, November 2 on the grounds of the Nigerian High Commission here in Kingston. Whether from the Coronation Market in downtown Kingston on the weekend or from the Iya markets daily in Nigeria, yellow yam is king. And there are many preparing special traditional Nigerian family pots right here in Jamaica.
Our porridge here in Jamaica is made of either cornmeal or peanuts or oats, but this one is yam porridge. Yes, that's what we call it in Nigeria. Not really our dialect, but it's the common name. We call it yam porridge.
You have been living how long here in Jamaica?
Oh God, it's over 40 years.
And what do you do?
I'm a registered nurse midwife.
Head chef today, along with some help from her colleague, because it's customary for the men in the family to help in the kitchen.
The first thing we do is to wash the yam, and then we peel out the back and cut it into cubes, big cubes, and then put it in the pot and put all the ingredients, the palm oil, the salt, the seasoning, the pepper, and the rest. So when it's about to cook, we now wash our inine, kalalo, because we have it in Nigeria too. We wash it and then use it as our vegetable.
As for the protein, tiny shrimps or crayfish, which is optional. It's frozen here, but for this pot it will be used in its powdery form. And there's another secret ingredient.
What fish is this? It's dry catfish. We call it dry fish.
Dried fish.
Azu. Azu fish is azu. We call azu fish. Obo is dry. So azu. So I'm going to cut in my onions.
Instead of the Maggi cube, had you been in Nigeria, what would you have been using?
The same thing, Maggi cube. Yes, that's what we use in Nigeria. And we're very happy when we arrived Jamaica and we saw Maggi here too. So we still use it same way. So this is the crayfish. I'm going to put generous amount.
There's nothing porridgey about this.
This is like a one-pot meal.
She used only 6 Scotch bonnet peppers in this case, but usually it's much more for the porridge yam. No dumplings on the side, no plantain, no green banana. She says, if it's yam, it's yam. And while the children in this household only ate, it is the norm for everyone to assist in one form or another.
Lots more to come right after this. Do stay with us.
The mix. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
whatever the crunch you want with KFC's popcorn chicken. Delicious, juicy, irresistible. Now available in barbecue. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Our days get a little complex sometimes. Often so many things make sense, yet so many do not. We are being intentional about giving prominence to the big stories in order to clarify and enlighten. Lead Story explains who, what, when, where, why, and how. Lead Story with George Davis, weekdays at 6:30 p.m. on CVM TV.
As we welcome you back, it's time now for the Business Report with Joel Crosskill.
Lots to share with you in the Business Report today, as Stationery and Office Supplies Limited SOS filed its 2023 annual report at the recently held AGM under historic success, the evolution of which was in part furnished by Stephen Todd, Chairman and Director of Sales and Marketing.
SOS hit a new benchmark in 2023 and delivered revenue growth of 11% year on year and an increase of 17% in gross profit over the prior year. It was not a year without challenges, but with the economy back from pre-COVID-19 output levels, our primary goal was to find the necessary skilled professionals to meet our rapid expansions.
Despite some initial inertia, momentum grew as the company took control of the first quarter, reeling in $519 million in revenues, a 22% increase year over year. At that point, it marked SOS's best performing quarter in its history, surpassing $500 million. So it seems rather than the coded call for help historically associated with the SOS acronym, 2023's outcomes are instead a call for attention, as the company's rapid expansion of revenue and profit was described by one of the aforementioned new additions to the SOS team, Financial Controller Kareem Jones.
Total revenue in fiscal year 2023 was $1.9 billion, which was 11% higher than the previous year and the highest revenue in the company's history, with a strong gross profit margin of 51% compared to 48% in 2022. Even with rising shipping costs, SOS has managed to take advantage of improved operational efficiencies, strategic pricing adjustments, and favorable supplier negotiations, all of which contributed to the strong margin.
At the end of the year, SOS had increased its total assets by 25%, from $1.39 billion at the end of 2022 to $1.74 billion at the end of 2023. Fixed assets also rose by 36%, with the purchase of 2 additional properties, seen as essential for the company's expansion ambitions.
2023 was also a year of expansion and growth, both locally and internationally. We have constructed a new 500 square foot warehouse, 5,000 square foot warehouse at our Beechwood Avenue property in Kingston. We have rented an additional 3,000 square foot warehouse in Montego Bay, taking our full warehouse capacity to almost over 50,000 square feet. All this being said, we have also purchased 2 new properties. All being well, in the first quarter of 2025, we'll start work on one of them with a new warehouse project. All of this to increase our storage and inventory capacity to be able to meet the needs of our customers and their expectations.
And if you are wondering what the main drivers of that performance were, as the saying goes, seek and you shall find, that the company's factory of the same name saw its highest ever revenue of $97 million, with plans to modernize machinery also in the works, as explained by Managing Director Alan McDaniel.
We have some very antiquated, maybe depending on the right word to use, which is very labor intensive. Now, for example, those machines, we have ruling machines, we have gluing machines, we have stapling machines, all the various individual machines that need to be combined to make one product. The new machinery that's coming will put paper at one end and a product at the other end, which will require less labor involvement for every stage of production. not only is it going to require less labor to operate these machines, but the output on it will produce, if we could do 1,000 books in a day previously, we should be able to do that 1,000 books within an hour based on the technology of the machinery coming. So hence why we're saying that our output should be, we can as much as triple our output with the existing machinery, but we are going to initially looking to increase by at least 50% in our first year once the machinery is up and running. And it is only going to be beneficial for the market, for Jamaica, to make sure that they have a locally made product for every school child there is, but also for our bottom line.
Add to that the successes of their Evolve furniture line, which has capitalized on the trend in which more customers are becoming interested in ergonomic design, comfortably surpassing $100 million in sales. The company is now positioning itself to offset its plans for increased manufacturing through the expansion of its renewable energy mix.
As we grew over the last few years till to now, we've probably reduced that to about 20, maybe 40% approximately now from the solar. So we are actually right now at this point in time looking at expanding our solar project again with a very heavy capital investment to be able to almost come off the grid.
And that was your business report. I'm Joel Crosskill.
Stay where you are. We've got more in a moment.
KFC's popcorn chicken, now available in barbecue. KFC, it's finger licking good. The time by KFC is
7:30.
Glad you stayed with us because we now can show you what's active on social media.
So what's trending in our local social media spaces? A manhunt is underway for a man who escaped from the Supreme Court yesterday after being found guilty for the possession of a firearm. Reports are that the man injured himself after jumping from the second floor of the building. Here are some of your reactions. At Jody Reed 2 says, anything possible in Jamaica, yes? At Jump Faith writes, that was one brave and desperate criminal. Jumped from the second story of the Supreme Court and escaped into West Kingston. If he has loyal friends, it will be days before he's found. At Refine_Body Studio shares, a one thing Jamaica always a keep. At Shamilia asks, how do you escape from that building? It's like prison itself. Burglar bars span doors and windows. At Tony_The Hugh comments, a Jason born this. At Carmen Blake 665 says, God-given talent to jump and to run, yet it was not utilized during the school days. Look where he discovered it. And that's what's trending online today. Continue to share your thoughts with us on X at CVM TV and CVM_television on Instagram. I'm Trisha Gay Kelly.
And now regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. With violence a pressing issue for the Caribbean and Latin America, Prime Minister Mia Mottley is calling for collaborative effort among the countries to tackle the vexing issue, as well as others. She made the call while speaking at the opening of the 16th Ministerial Forum for Development in Latin America and the Caribbean. More from CBC News, Barbados.
Prime Minister Mottley says it gives the region no pleasure to know that nations in these areas occupy every spot in the top 10 of countries with the highest per capita homicide rate in the world.
There is no formal